I thought I'd found her. The one. Sophie wasn't just beautiful. She was everything I'd been searching for my entire adult life. Smart, funny, ambitious, with this laugh that could light up the darkest room. For 3 magical weeks, we were inseparable. Late-night conversations until 4 a.m., inside jokes, stolen glances across crowded rooms. She'd text me first thing in the morning and last thing at night. I was falling hard. Then she vanished. Complete radio silence. No explanation. No goodbye. Just gone. What happened next didn't just break my heart. It nearly broke my mind. And if you've ever felt like you found the one, only to watch them slip through your fingers like smoke or start playing hard to get, you need to hear this story. Because what I discovered about why women do this, it changed everything I thought I knew about attraction, about women, and about myself. Stay with me. This gets darker before it gets better. Let me paint you a picture of those first 3 weeks with Sophie. We met at a friend's birthday party. You know, one of those gatherings where you know maybe 2 people and spend most of the night scrolling your phone in the corner? I was about to leave when she approached me. "You look like you'd rather be literally anywhere else," she said, that smile lighting up her face. "Is it that obvious?" I laughed, instantly feeling more comfortable than I had all night. And that was it. We talked for 4 straight hours. About everything. Our dreams, our fears, embarrassing childhood stories, the meaning of life, our favorite pizza toppings. She was brilliant, genuinely brilliant. A marketing director at 26, but also someone who read philosophy books for fun and could debate Nietzsche while making the most terrible puns imaginable. The chemistry was undeniable. Not just physical, though God, the way she looked at me made my heart skip, but intellectual, emotional. She'd text me random thoughts at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Photos of weird clouds she'd seen. Links to articles she thought I'd find interesting. We'd spend entire evenings just walking around the city, talking about nothing and everything. I remember thinking, this is it. This is what all those failed relationships were preparing me for. She'd lean against me during movies. Hold my hand walking down the street. Hell, she even brought me soup when I got sick during week 2. Sophie seemed invested. Real. Different from all the games I'd experienced before. But here's what I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was that while I was falling in love, she was conducting an experiment. And I was the subject. Psychology lesson number 1. Here's the first thing you need to understand about female psychology. When a woman is genuinely interested, she doesn't suddenly become distant after building strong connection. That's not how attraction works. Real interest creates momentum, not hesitation. If she's pulling back after showing genuine signs of attraction, it's not about you. It's about something else entirely going on in her world. It started subtle. Week 4, her texts became shorter, less frequent. Where she used to send me paragraphs, now I got one-word answers. Busy, maybe, sure. I told myself she was just stressed with work. Everyone has off weeks, right? But then came the night that should have been a red flag the size of Texas. We'd planned to go to this new sushi place we'd been talking about for days. I showed up 15 minutes early because I was excited, sue me, and waited. And waited. 30 minutes past our meeting time. She strolled in like nothing had happened. "Sorry, work ran late," she said, not even looking particularly apologetic. But here's the thing that really messed with my head. The rest of the date was perfect. She was attentive, laughing at my jokes, asking about my day. It was like a switch had been flipped back to the Sophie I'd fallen for. By the end of the night, when she kissed me goodnight, I'd convinced myself I was overthinking everything. That became the pattern. She'd go cold for a day or 2, then turn the charm back on full blast. Hot and cold. Push and pull. And every time she pulled back, I found myself working harder to get her attention. Texting more. Suggesting more elaborate dates. Trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. Looking back, I can see it clearly now. But in the moment, I was drowning, and I didn't even realize it. Because what happened next, what she did during week 6, it didn't just confuse me. It shattered everything I thought I understood about women, about relationships, about myself. Psychology lesson number 2. Here's something most men don't realize. When a woman starts the hot and cold pattern, she's unconsciously training you to become more invested. It's called intermittent reinforcement, the same psychology that makes gambling addictive. The unpredictable rewards, her attention, make you crave them more intensely than if she gave you consistent attention. Your brain literally gets addicted to the uncertainty. Week 6. The The week that changed everything. Sophie and I had plans for Saturday night. Dinner and a concert we'd been looking forward to for 2 weeks. I'd bought the tickets. Made reservations at her favorite restaurant. I was genuinely excited. Friday afternoon, she texted, "Hey, rain check on tomorrow? Emma's having a crisis and needs me." Emma, her best friend who seemed to have a new crisis every other week. But fine, I thought. Friends first, I get it. I'm understanding. I'm mature. Of course, I texted back. Hope Emma's okay. Next weekend, definitely. You're the best for understanding. Saturday night, I'm at home, ordering pizza and queuing up Netflix when I see it. Sophie's Instagram story. She's not consoling Emma. She's at some rooftop bar downtown, laughing with a group of people I don't recognize, looking absolutely stunning in a dress I'd never seen before. The betrayal hit me like a physical punch. Not just that she'd lied, though that was bad enough, but the casual cruelty of it. She could have just said she wanted to hang out with other friends. Instead, she created an elaborate fiction that made me feel guilty for even being disappointed. I stared at that photo for probably 10 minutes, trying to make sense of it. Was this some kind of test? Had I done something wrong? Was she losing interest and too polite to just tell me? But here's where it gets really twisted. Sunday morning, she texted like nothing had happened. Hope you had a good night. Coffee later. No acknowledgement of the lie. No explanation. Just moving forward like I was supposed to pretend I hadn't seen her story. Like I was supposed to play along with whatever game this was. And you know what the most pathetic part is? I almost did. I almost went to get coffee with her, pretending I hadn't seen anything, because I was so desperate to keep her in my life that I was willing to gaslight myself. That's when I realized something that would haunt me for months. I had no idea who Sophie really was. The woman I'd fallen in love with, was she even real? Or had I been in love with a performance? Psychology lesson number 3. This is crucial for every man to understand. Women who are genuinely interested don't create elaborate deceptions to test you. That behavior comes from one of 2 places. Either she's emotionally unavailable and using you for validation while she figures out what she really wants, or she has deep insecurity issues and needs constant proof of your interest to feel worthy. Either way, it's not about love. It's about her unresolved psychological needs. I didn't go to coffee that Sunday. Instead, I did something I'd never done before. I called her out. Saw your Instagram story. I texted. Emma's crisis looked like a lot of fun. The response came back in minutes. Can we talk? 20 minutes later, we're sitting in her car outside my apartment building. And what she told me, God, even thinking about it now makes my chest tight. I've been testing you, she said. Just like that. Matter of fact. Like she was discussing the weather. Testing me how? To see if you're serious about me. To see if you'll fight for me. To see what kind of guy you really are. I felt like I was in some alternate reality. By lying to me. By ignoring me. By making me feel like I'm going crazy. She looked genuinely confused by my reaction. That's just how this works, Nath. If a guy really wants me, he'll prove it. He won't give up just because things get a little complicated. A little complicated. That's what she called systematically undermining my sanity for 2 weeks. But Sophie, I said, my voice probably shaking, I thought this was real. And that's when she said the words that still echo in my head 2 years later. It is real. This is just part of it. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. I sat there in stunned silence. Watching this woman I'd started picturing a future with explain how manipulating my emotions was somehow romantic. How making me question my own perception of reality was a demonstration of love. Psychology lesson number 4. Gentlemen, listen carefully. Any woman who uses the phrase, if you can't handle me at my worst, is telling you she has no intention of regulating her own behavior. She's essentially saying, I'm going to treat you poorly sometimes, and it's your job to just accept it. This is manipulation disguised as a relationship standard. Healthy women don't weaponize their worst behavior. They work to improve it. So everything, the hot and cold, the mixed signals, the lies, that was all intentional. Not lies. Tests. And you're failing most of them. Failing. I was failing her tests. Tests I didn't know I was taking, with rules nobody had explained to me. That's the moment I realized I had 2 choices. I could play this game, except that love apparently required me to prove my worth through psychological obstacle courses, or I could walk away from the most intense connection I'd ever felt. What I did next surprised even me. I got out of her car. No dramatic speech. No angry rants. I just left, walked up to my apartment, my hands shaking so badly I could barely unlock the door. But here's what really messed me up. Part of me wanted to go back. Part of me wanted to apologize, to ask what tests I needed to pass, to beg for another chance. Because despite everything, despite the manipulation and the lies and the mind games, I still felt that connection. Those first 3 weeks hadn't been fake, had they? I spent the next 3 days in a fog. Couldn't concentrate at work. Couldn't sleep. Kept replaying every interaction we'd had, wondering what I'd missed, what signs I should have seen. My friends tried to tell me I'd dodged a bullet, but all I could think about was what might have been. Wednesday night, she texted, "I miss you." 3 words. That's all it took for my resolve to crumble. "I miss you too." I texted back. "Come over? I think we need to talk properly." I should have stayed home. I should have blocked her number. I should have recognized that someone who tests the people they claim to care about isn't someone capable of healthy love. But I didn't. Because I was still hoping that maybe she'd realized how cruel she'd been. Hoping that maybe we could start over. Hoping that maybe, just maybe, I could figure out how to pass her tests. What happened when I went to her apartment that night? It didn't just break my heart. It shattered my entire understanding of what love was supposed to feel like. Psychology lesson number 5. Here's a pattern you need to recognize. When a woman suddenly becomes vulnerable and apologetic after weeks of cold behavior, she's not necessarily having a breakthrough. Often, she's sensed that you're about to walk away, and she's using emotional manipulation to reel you back in. It's called hoovering, sucking you back into the cycle. Watch her actions over the following weeks, not just her words in the moment. When I got to Sophie's apartment, she was different again. Vulnerable. Soft. She'd been crying. I could tell from her puffy eyes and smudged mascara. "I'm sorry," she said before I'd even sat down. "I know I've been confusing. I know I've been difficult." For a moment, I felt this surge of hope. Finally, we could talk about this like adults. She explained how her last relationship had destroyed her confidence. How the guy had cheated, had made her feel worthless, had convinced her that she wasn't worth fighting for. So now, with every new guy, she needed to know he wouldn't give up on her at the first sign of trouble. I listened. I understood. Hell, I felt for her. We all have baggage, right? We all have reasons for our behavior that make perfect sense to us, even when they hurt other people. "I don't want to lose you," she whispered, taking my hand. "You're the first guy in years who's made me feel hopeful." And in that moment, sitting on her couch, holding her hand, feeling needed and wanted and important, I made a decision that would haunt me for months. I chose to stay. I chose to accept that this was just how she was. I chose to believe that love sometimes required enduring tests, proving yourself, fighting for someone even when they made it nearly impossible. Psychology lesson number 6. This is where most good men get trapped. We're taught that love requires sacrifice and persistence. But there's a difference between working through normal relationship challenges and accepting toxic behavior patterns. A woman who truly loves you will never make you feel like you have to constantly prove your worth. Love should feel secure, not like a job interview that never ends. For the next 2 months, I lived in a state of constant anxiety, never knowing which Sophie I'd wake up to. The warm, loving woman who made me feel like the luckiest man alive, or the cold, distant stranger who acted like I was bothering her by existing. I developed a sixth sense for her moods. Analyzed every text for hidden meaning, planned elaborate gestures to win back her attention whenever she pulled away. I became someone I didn't recognize, needy, desperate, walking on eggshells. And then, just when I thought I'd figured out the rules, just when I thought I might actually be passing her tests, she introduced me to Fred. "This is Fred," Sophie said casually, like she wasn't introducing me to a Greek god with a jawline that could cut glass and a smile that probably made women forget their own names. We were at a group dinner, Sophie's friends, a few of mine, casual Friday night thing. Fred slid into the seat next to her like he belonged there, and suddenly I was watching my girlfriend transform into someone I'd never seen before. She laughed at everything he said. Actually laughed, not the polite chuckles she'd been giving me lately. She touched his arm when she talked to him, leaned in close when he whispered something in her ear, and the way she looked at him, it was the way she used to look at me during those first 3 weeks. "How do you two know each other?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Fred and I work together," Sophie said. "He just transferred to our office last month." Last month, right around the time she'd started pulling away from me, I watched them all night. The subtle intimacy, the shared jokes I wasn't part of, the way he made her smile, genuinely smile, while I'd been struggling for weeks just to get her to respond to my texts with more than one word. After dinner, she rode home with him. Just easier since we're going the same direction, she explained, giving me a quick peck on the cheek like I was her brother or something. I drove home alone, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white, finally understanding what had been happening. I wasn't failing her tests. There were no tests. There was just Fred. And I was the placeholder she kept around while she figured out how to get him interested. Psychology lesson number 7. This is the harsh truth about women who play hard to get. Often, you're not the prize they're trying to win. You're the safety net while they pursue someone else. When a woman is genuinely interested in you, she doesn't play games. She makes time, she's consistent, she's available. Games are what women play when they're not sure you're what they want, but they're not ready to let you go either. All those games, all that push and pull, all those moments where she'd make me feel crazy for wanting consistency. It wasn't about testing my commitment. It was about managing me while she pursued someone else. The next few weeks were torture. I'd become a detective, analyzing every interaction, every social media post, every casual mention of work. And the pattern was undeniable. Here's what I learned about why women play hard to get, and it's not what you'd expect. Psychology lesson number 8. There are actually several psychological drivers behind this behavior, and understanding them can save you months of confusion. First, the validation seeker. She's addicted to the feeling of being pursued. Your attention feeds her ego, but she's not actually interested in a relationship with you. She just likes knowing she can have you if she wants. Second, the insecurity manager. She's terrified of rejection, so she rejects you first through distance and mixed signals. She'd rather have you confused than risk being vulnerable and getting hurt. Third, the options keeper. She likes you enough to keep you around, but she's hoping someone better will come along. You're her backup plan while she shops around. Sometimes, it's not about you at all. Sometimes, you're just convenient. You're the guy who makes her feel desired while she works up the courage to go after the guy she really wants. You're her confidence boost, her practice round, her safety net. Sophie wasn't insecure about showing her feelings. She showed them plenty to Fred. She wasn't testing my commitment. She was managing my expectations while she figured out if she could get his. She wasn't protecting herself from getting hurt. She was protecting herself from having to hurt me by being honest about what this really was. All those reasons I'd read about online, all those explanations that made her behavior seem understandable, even justified, they were just stories I told myself to avoid facing the obvious truth. She was using me. And the cruelest part? She probably didn't even realize she was doing it. In her mind, she was just keeping her options open or taking things slow or protecting her heart. But the effect was the same. I was pouring my emotional energy into someone who saw me as a backup plan. 3 weeks after the Fred dinner, Sophie asked to talk. I knew what was coming, but part of me still hoped. I think we should take a break, she said. I need to focus on myself right now. Take a break. Not break up. A break. Because even then, even while she was essentially firing me from the position of boyfriend, she wanted to keep me available. Just in case things didn't work out with Fred. You know what I should have said? I should have told her exactly what I thought about her break. I should have called out the months of manipulation and mixed signals. I should have walked away with my dignity intact. But I didn't. Because I still didn't understand the most important lesson of all. I agreed to the break. Like an idiot. I agreed to wait for her while she focused on herself, which, as I learned from mutual friends, meant focusing on Fred. For 2 months, I lived in limbo. She'd text occasionally, just enough to keep me from moving on completely. Thinking of you. Hope you're well. Miss our conversations. Breadcrumbs designed to keep me hungry while she fed someone else. Then one night, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She was with Fred, and there was no mistaking what I was seeing. The way they sat close together, the way she looked at him, the comfortable intimacy of a couple who'd moved way past casual dating. She saw me before I could leave. Our eyes met across the crowded cafe, and in that moment, I saw something I'd never seen before. Guilt. Real, genuine guilt. Because finally, she understood that I knew. But here's what changed everything for me. It wasn't seeing her with Fred that broke me out of my trance. It was seeing how confident he was with her. How he didn't seem to be walking on eggshells, or analyzing her every mood. How he clearly wasn't spending his nights wondering what tests he was failing. Psychology lesson number 9. This is the game changer. Women respond differently to men with independent confidence versus dependent confidence. Dependent confidence means your self-worth depends on her reactions. When she's warm, you feel good. When she's cold, you doubt yourself. Independent confidence means you feel good about yourself regardless of her mood swings. Fred had independent confidence. I had been operating from dependent confidence, and she could sense it. Fred had what I'd been desperately trying to develop for months. The confidence to be himself regardless of how she behaved. And that's when it hit me like a lightning bolt. The problem wasn't that I'd failed her tests. The problem was that I'd been taking tests in the first place. A woman who truly wanted to be with me wouldn't make me jump through hoops to prove my worth. She wouldn't keep me guessing about where I stood. She wouldn't use confusion and uncertainty as tools to control the relationship. The right woman, the woman meant for me, wouldn't play hard to get when she liked me. She'd play easy to love. That realization changed everything. Not overnight. I wish it had been that simple. But gradually, fundamentally, permanently, I started paying attention to how I felt around different women. Did I feel calm and secure, or anxious and uncertain? Did I feel like myself, or like I was performing for approval? Did our interactions energize me, or drain me? Sophie had made me feel like I was constantly auditioning for a role in her life. But there were other women. Women I'd overlooked while I was obsessing over someone who was playing games, who made me feel completely different. Like Kelly, the barista at my local cafe who always remembered my order and genuinely seemed happy to see me. Like Jessica from my hiking group, who texted me photos from trails she thought I'd enjoy. Like my neighbor Melissa, who asked for my help moving furniture and thanked me with homemade cookies and interesting conversation. These weren't women playing hard to get. They were women being easy to know. And I'd been so addicted to the drama of uncertainty that I'd mistaken their genuine interest for something ordinary, something not worth pursuing. Here's what I learned about female psychology that every man needs to understand. When a woman likes you, really likes you, she doesn't make it complicated. She doesn't send mixed signals or play hot and cold. She doesn't test your commitment by withdrawing her attention. She finds reasons to be around you. She responds to your texts promptly and enthusiastically. She shows up when she says she will. She introduces you to her friends. She acts like someone who's happy to have you in her life. The women who play games aren't testing your worth. They're revealing theirs. And their worth, as relationship partners, is exactly what you'd expect from someone who thinks love requires manipulation. 6 months after Sophie and I took our break, I was dating someone new, Rachel. We met at a friend's wedding, and from our first conversation, everything felt easy. Not boring easy, not lazy easy, just natural. Like we were both exactly where we wanted to be. Rachel didn't play hard to get because she wasn't hard to get. She liked me, I liked her, and we both acted like adults about it. When she said she'd call, she called. When I suggested plans, she either said yes or proposed something better. When she had concerns about our relationship, she talked to me about them instead of punishing me with silence and expecting me to guess what was wrong. And here's the thing that really opened my eyes. Rachel was incredibly attractive. Successful, intelligent, funny, the whole package. By Sophie's logic, Rachel should have been even more likely to play games, to make me prove myself, to test my commitment. Psychology lesson number 10. Here's a counterintuitive truth. The most attractive, high-value women are often the least likely to play games. Why? Because they have genuine confidence. They know their worth, so they don't need to create artificial scarcity or make you jump through hoops to feel valuable. It's actually the insecure women who are most likely to play hard to get, because they mistake drama for desirability. But Rachel didn't. Because confident, secure people don't need to create artificial scarcity to feel valuable. They don't need to make others jump through hoops to prove their desirability. That's when I understood the real psychology behind hard-to-get behavior. It's not about testing your worthiness. It's about managing their insecurity. Psychology lesson number 11. This is the most important lesson of all. When a woman plays hard to get, she's revealing her emotional state, not yours. Secure, confident women don't play games because they don't need to. They're comfortable with vulnerability because they trust their own worth. Think about it. When someone is genuinely confident in their value, they don't need constant proof from others. When someone truly believes they're worthy of love, they don't need to create elaborate scenarios to confirm it. But when someone deep down believes they're not enough, they need constant validation. And one way to get that validation is to create situations where people have to chase them, fight for them, prove their dedication. Sophie wasn't testing my commitment to see if I was relationship material. She was manufacturing situations where I had to demonstrate my interest because she was addicted to that feeling of being wanted. Here's what I want every man watching this to understand. You are not responsible for managing someone else's insecurity. You are not obligated to prove your worth to someone who's determined to doubt it. When a woman plays hard to get, she's telling you something important about who she is and how she approaches relationships. She's telling you that she sees love as a game where someone wins and someone loses, where affection must be earned through suffering, where certainty is the enemy of attraction. Psychology lesson number 12. Here are the 3 types of women and how they handle attraction. Type 1. The secure woman. When she likes you, she shows it. She's consistent, available, and doesn't play games because she doesn't need drama to feel valuable. Type 2. The insecure game player. She likes the attention more than she likes you. She creates uncertainty to feel powerful and desired, but she's incapable of genuine intimacy. Type 3. The unavailable woman. She keeps you around for validation while pursuing someone else. You're her emotional safety net, not her romantic choice. Only Type 1 women are capable of healthy, lasting relationships. The others will drain your energy and destroy your self-esteem, no matter how much you love them. That might work in movies and romance novels, but in real life, relationships built on games and tests don't last. They can't. Because eventually, one person gets tired of playing, and the whole thing falls apart. I wasted 8 months of my life trying to decode Sophie's mixed signals, trying to figure out what she wanted, trying to become the man she'd finally choose. 8 months I could have spent finding someone who actually wanted to be found. The tragedy isn't that Sophie didn't choose me. The tragedy is that I chose her over women who were genuinely interested, who were straightforward about their feelings, who would have made me happy instead of anxious. But here's the happy ending. Once I learned to recognize the difference between someone playing hard to get and someone who's simply hard to get to know, everything changed. Rachel and I have been together for 2 years now. We've had our challenges. Every relationship does, but we've never had games. When there's a problem, we talk about it. When one of us is upset, we say so. When we're happy, we show it. And you know what's funny? The security of knowing exactly where I stand with her, the peace of not having to constantly prove myself, the joy of being with someone who's genuinely excited to be with me. It's a million times better than the artificial highs I got from occasionally winning Sophie's attention. That's the lesson, gentlemen. Stop chasing people who make you question your worth. Stop trying to win over women who treat your attention like an inconvenience. Stop mistaking drama for passion and games for love. Find someone who's happy you exist. Trust me, they're out there. And they're waiting for a man who's smart enough to choose them over the ones who aren't. If this story resonates with you, if you found yourself in similar situations, chasing women who seem interested one day and cold the next, then you need to understand something crucial. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about recognizing your own value and refusing to accept less than you deserve. See, the problem isn't that you're not attractive enough or successful enough or interesting enough. The problem is that you've been conditioned to think that love requires struggle, that anything worth having must be difficult to get. But what if I told you there was a way to completely shift this dynamic? What if you could learn to attract women who are genuinely excited about you from the beginning, who don't play games because they're too busy enjoying your company? After everything I went through with Sophie, after months of studying psychology and dating and relationships, I discovered something that changed everything. A simple shift in mindset that makes you irresistible to the right women while naturally repelling the ones who would waste your time. It's called the scrambler, and it's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming the most attractive version of who you already are. How I finally stopped being the friend zone guy without changing my personality. With one simple move, you can. Stop losing women that initially liked you because you couldn't play the game. Re-enter the dating scene with confidence at any age. Pass each and every one of women's secret tests. Unlock the Scrambler is the only system that combines eliminating the nice guy behavior ingrained in so many men with the most cutting-edge discoveries of modern psychology. So you can gain the attraction of women, project personal power, and avoid the "let's just be friends" speech for good. Don't spend another day wondering why the women you want don't want you back. Don't waste another month trying to decode mixed signals from someone who's just not that into you. Click the link below right now and discover how to become the man that high-quality women chase instead of the man who does the chasing.